Eagles' 2017 Super Bowl win was awesome. They were the underdogs that showed a lot of heart and pride. There will never be another team like them. This is an example of rosy retrospection, which can be defined as our tendency to recall the past more fondly in comparison to the present. Rosy retrospection is fairly similar to the phenomenon of nostalgia, and it can be viewed in both positive and negative ways in how it affects an individual. Personally, I feel that rosy retrospection is far more damaging to an individual than it is beneficial. People should not consistently live in the past, which is what happens when rosy retrospection occurs too frequently, and they should focus more on living in the present so that they have more memories to look back on in the future. Of course, thinking back on memorable moments in one's life is not a bad thing, but if one only thinks about the past, then they are not truly living in the present, nor are they looking forward to the future. Rosy retrospection is an interesting phenomenon that has both positive aspects as well as negative aspects. It can greatly affect an individual's perspective of various topics, situations, and experiences. In this speech, I will explain what rosy retrospection is, why it occurs, and discuss the effects it has on an individual as well as the positive and negative aspects associated with the phenomenon. To begin, I will explain what rosy retrospection is and discuss why it occurs. To begin, I want to explain what rosy retrospection is and explain why it happens. Rosy retrospection is a type of cognitive bias in which one recalls the past more fondly than they think about the present and/or the future. According to the Decision Lab, rosy retrospection is a product of how our brains process memory over time that mostly occurs in older adults as they have a more rosy picture of the past, which for them is young adulthood because those time periods coincide with more emotional memories. These are often referred to as reminiscent bumps, and they mostly occur in older adults because young children/adults tend to be more optimistic about the future, so they feel no need to recall the past. According to Jason Quay, although rosy retrospection is a cognitive bias and distorts a person's view of reality to some extent, some people theorize that it may in part serve a useful purpose in increasing self-esteem and a person's overall sense of well-being. When one needs a boost of self-esteem, they can use rosy retrospection to recall a time when they felt more confident in themselves to help build their self-esteem, since they look at their earlier time in a more positive light than they do their present state. This can also occur because when one looks to the past through rosy retrospection, they sometimes tend to remove details from their memory. Therefore, one may think that they were more confident at a past time, but that may come from the removal of details that their brain deems unnecessary to the memory. Overall, this occurs because positive memories and events are more easily accessible to our brains than negative memories and events. Next, I will discuss the positives that rosy retrospection gives to individuals. Rosy retrospection can have both positive and negative effects on people. First, I'm going to talk about the positives of rosy retrospection. One notable positive is that self-esteem or the confidence boost that happens with rosy retrospection that I talked about earlier. Because positive memories are more accessible to our brains than negative memories, recalling the past through rosy retrospection can help individuals recall times in their lives when they were more confident. According to Affectivology, one notable benefit of rosy retrospection is that it can help you feel better about past events. This also relates to the accessibility of positive memories within our brains in comparison to negative memories. When one recalls a positive experience or can think back to an experience in a positive way, they can feel much happier in the long run. This can also allow for one to cope with any negative experiences without negative consequences because they can forget about those negative aspects of a past experience. According to Affectivology, knowing that you tend to have a rosy outlook in retrospect can push you to take positive future actions that wouldn't otherwise. Rosy retrospection can lead one to take more positive risks in their lives. An individual can choose to take part in certain activities and events that they know they will recall positively in the future, even if those events and activities do not meet their expectations in the present. Next, I will discuss the negatives that rosy retrospection gives to individuals. Lastly, I'm going to explain the negative effects that rosy retrospection can have on individuals. First, according to Affectivology, Rosy retrospection can cause you to ignore past mistakes in a way that prevents you from learning from them. Rosy retrospection can help you learn from previous mistakes, but it can also make you forget you made a mistake, which can be damaging. If you forget about a mistake you made in the past, you are more prone to make the same mistake again in the future because you do not remember making the mistake in the past and you were not able to learn from the mistake. Next, also according to effectivology, rosy retrospection can cause you to ignore negative aspects of past experiences in a way that causes you to unnecessarily place yourself in negative situations. Again, being able to forget negative experiences, mistakes, and or negative aspects of an experience can be both beneficial and incredibly harmful. Being able to recall negative events, experiences, mistakes, etc. can protect you from repeatedly placing yourself into a toxic and even dangerous situations. Your brain may not forget or choose to ignore negative experiences, which can lead to you again not being able to learn from those mistakes. Overall, the negatives associated with rosy retrospection outweigh the positives associated with it. In my opinion, as an individual should not live in their past, but rather the present. In conclusion, rosy retrospection is an interesting phenomenon that has both positive aspects as well as negative aspects, and it can greatly affect an individual's perspective on various topics, situations, and experiences. Rosy retrospection is a result of the way in which our brains process memories, and it happens in older individuals. It occurs more frequently when one needs a self-esteem or confidence boost, as one is able to look back on times when they were more confident in themselves and had more self-esteem. Rosy retrospection has positive and negative effects and aspects associated with it. It can help one better process a previous experience and feel better about that experience, and it can help push one to make more positive actions in their futures. Lastly, rosy retrospection can potentially cause an individual to ignore their past mistakes, which can lead them to not learning from those mistakes, and it can similarly make it where an individual ignores negative aspects of a previous experience in a way that can lead them putting themselves into similar or more dangerous situations. Overall, after listening to this speech, my hope is that we can all at least have a basic understanding of what rosy retrospection is and why it occurs, as well as the positive and negative aspects it has on individuals.